name is Jade, owner and principal planner of Joyful Events by Jade, and this is The Cookie Table. This is a podcast all about love, marriage, relationships, and the wedding industry, wedding news. Perfect for anyone that is getting married, is married, a wedding vendor, or someone that just loves weddings. Grab your favorite cookie from The Cookie Table, pour yourself a glass of Chardonnay, and let's get into it.
We're doing it already.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We're just taking
it right into it.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh my goodness. Desireé Littman, a lead planner for Joyful Events by Jade, my company. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was in due time here. I've been saying it for a while, but the timing just makes extra sense now.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you just
A little closer. Okay. There we
Watch
go.
your wine.
Okay. Yeah, don't want to spill that.
Don't spill that bad boy. So you're a thumbprint girly?
I am, yeah. I feel like that I don't know if it's the sprinkles or the frosting or what, but I, especially if it's an Oakmont thumbprint, just gravitate right towards that on a cookie table.
Yeah, well, you asked too much of me to go to Oakmont.
I should have known, yeah. Not like you have anything going on. Yeah. No. Could you make them? Like, could you do that?
Yeah, you should just ask that.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Grandview Bakery, for the cookies.
Yes.
Paired politely with some Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
Our toxic trait is that we could easily sit here and drink this bottle.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like,
a couple.
Easily. Easily. Catch it, like, after a vendor event, if it happens at a hotel bar or something, we're the only ones left, and they're kicking us out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Late.
Oh, boy, that's why people love us.
Yeah.
That's what I like to think.
Exactly.
We're fun.
Fun. Yes. So much fun.
Big sip to that.
So good.
So, tell us about you, your origin story, where you grew up.
Yeah. So I am originally from Denver, Colorado, but my family is all from the Pittsburgh area. So I feel like I still bleed a little bit of that black and gold. Never was a Broncos fan, so don't worry about that. So I lived there my whole life, lived there till I was 19. And then we moved to Maryland, and I lived there for a couple of years. And then I met my first husband.
She's a pro at weddings,
I'm a pro,
everyone.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm a pro. Met my first husband in Colorado, and then we moved back. And then I moved back to Colorado. So I've done a lot of moving around. And then I got pregnant with my first daughter in 2006. And so I was living in Colorado at that time, and realized that I just wanted to be back by my family. So we moved back here, and so we've been here since 2006.
Okay, and so you were in the Butler area.
I live in the Butler area now, yes.
Did you start in Butler when you came back?
I did not. So we lived in kind of a really rural area over near Katanning.
Okay.
So lived there with my second husband.
Never knew.
Yeah. Third time's a charm. And so lived there for about 10 years, I guess. And then met my current husband, and he was living in Newcastle at the time. I was still living in Roll Valley, which was about an hour-ish drive away from each other. So Butler was kind of the midpoint for us, because we both have kids, and we needed to try to figure all of that out. So when we were trying to decide where we were going to live, Butler just made sense.
Made sense.
So, yeah.
It made sense. So this is your third season with Joyful Events,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Crazy. Time flies.
I know.
So when we first met, I think, if memory serves me right, I posted that I was looking for another assistant, and a former bride actually shared it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Her name's Lindsay. How did you know Lindsay, or why were you
I don't
following her?
remember.
Yeah, not funny.
I honestly, and I was honestly trying to think of that story last night because I knew you were going to ask me, and I don't know how we were friends, but apparently it was meant to be.
Meant to be. It's so random.
She shared that post, and I was looking for a job just in general at that time because I had just gotten laid off from the job that I had for 10 years. I was a notary. and I had just gotten laid off from that and had been off for maybe like 3 or 4 months. So I was just looking in general.
Yeah.
And I saw that post and I was like, well, I don't really have any wedding experience, but I love planning parties. I love just the coordination part of it. And I was like, all she can do is say no. So I sent an email and here we are.
Well, I liked you.
Yeah. I feel like we just clicked.
I know.
Yeah.
It
And ironically, I had the job interview with you and for my other job, my 9 to 5, on the same day. Like back to back. I interviewed with them first and then interviewed with you.
Crazy.
And I was like, wow.
We'll do them both.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your background in events and your little theme parties that you do at your house.
Yeah. So I just have always been the party planner in my family. My poor daughter has never gotten to choose her own birthday theme. But I'm super over the top just with everything. I love a good theme.
Yeah.
And I just really run with it. Details are my favorite part of any event. So I think that's where like that part of my love of event planning like comes in. Like I just really love details and the things that are most important to people, I think are what makes an event really about them.
Yeah. I think I remember you did a party for someone that was pizza related, like a pizza guy.
My dad. Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I try to like think of something that applies to them or something that they love. And my dad likes pizza, so I did a pizza theme and I made personalized like little pizza boxes. I found a photo of him and put a hat on him, and I really run with it.
You sure do.
Yeah.
You sure do. And that shows in what you're doing for me and our couples too. I like to think, at least.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
Yeah, I think you're doing great. So just so everyone can start, learning Desireé more. And what I'm loving right now too is we are at this point where we're going to vendor events together, and there are some people that are talking to you and not me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, great. But I love that. But I love seeing you become part of your own. I think that's amazing. And it's happened quite a few times now, and I'm just like, oh, I've never met you, but Desireé, great. Which is
love
awesome.
that. Yeah.
I love that. So describe yourself in 3 words.
3 words. Okay. I'm creative for sure. If it's not party planning, I love to bake and craft and just do all of the things. So I'd say that first. I'm very passionate about what I do. If it's something that I love, I'm going to put my whole heart and soul into it, which I think is beneficial for this line of work. And I would say driven. I really strive to do my best in every aspect of my life, but specifically in like a professional setting. I just want my work to reflect that.
And I agree. When you first started transforming from assistant into lead planner, I'll never forget, you kind of took it upon yourself to go in the archives of Aisle Planner, look at an old timeline, and you're like, oh, I just checked this out, like, so this is what I put together. And I was like, thank you. Thank you for being a go-getter and figuring that out, because that's how I am.
Right. Yeah, I'm a very visual learner, so it was helpful for me to see it laid out and then just kind of apply it to what I was doing.
It was great. And you continue to do that, which I appreciate a lot. How would you describe your planning style?
Detail-oriented first and foremost. The details that matter to you are going to also matter to me, so I want people to know that up front. But I think maybe why we got along so well is I'm also like laid back. Yeah. And I think that's the vibe that we attract. I know we've had that conversation. And I think that appeals to people because if something is going awry in the middle of a day, I think that we're like, we got it. Yep. Don't worry. Everything's going to work out. Yep. It's, it starts pouring. It's fine. We'll figure it out. And I think that really appeals to people.
Yeah, I agree. Because you need your planner, especially in your corner, that is not going to freak out or lose their mind or I don't know, just have a hard time because you're supposed to be their rock.
Right.
So that we do market ourselves as laid back planning and design. It's kind of hard to tagline that word, I guess, and so to speak, but it's on our Instagram, it's on our website, because, if, like, shit's hitting the fan, like, everything's fine.
It's fine. It's totally fine. We got this. It's good.
Fine.
Yeah.
We're having so much fun. Oh, but that's exactly why we click. And we get the coolest couples. Sometimes almost too laid back.
Yeah, just now. I mean, just a little. It's,
Like,
we'll just take over.
Yeah. For our day of coordination, which starts 3 months out. It's like, okay, you haven't done any of this yet. Great.
Let's go.
Great. But we're very flexible, and I always appreciate, too, like, with your couples, you truly want to help them, and I can tell. So when you do get that quote unquote day of couple, but they're like, oh, I haven't found my shuttle yet, you're helping them with that. Yeah. Yes. Which is really nice.
Some people. Yeah.
If you're listening, that doesn't mean just wait and do it all. Please, okay?
Yeah, please don't wait.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. It's kind of a funny question. What's your toxic trait for events? Like, you think you can carry a huge 3-tiered cake by yourself? Like, do you have a toxic trait?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could do that, so that's fine. But I think probably, and we just recently had a conversation about this, so that's why it's sticking in my mind, and I think it leads back to me planning my own parties and doing everything by myself. Yes. So I never had to think about anybody else helping me with anything. I'm kind of a micromanager. So I like to do stuff by myself because then I feel like I know it's going to get done right.
Right.
But so I'm having a more difficult time relaying that to this. So I keep all of my ideas in my head, and I know that stuff is up there, and I know those questions that I'm going to ask are there, but visually it's not translating. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that I just like kind of keep everything up here, and I need to get it out there.
Yes. Yeah. We are actively working on paperwork.
Actively.
Yeah. But I know, I've said that. I'm like, I know you know what's going on, but nobody else knows what the fuck is happening.
Yeah. So that's not helpful.
It's not. You're not helping anyone at all. Okay. But then I know, because then it makes people have to ask you.
Right.
And when you're busy, it's like, let's just get it all out there. Thanks for admitting that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll admit that all day.
I do appreciate that. What is one thing about you that most people don't know, but you think they should, or you would like for them to?
So this was I struggled with this.
Yeah.
But I think that professional Desireé and social Desireé are two completely different people.
Yes.
I am the most socially awkward person on the planet in a personal setting. I would much rather like sit in the corner and chug this glass of wine than have to talk to anybody ever, and I would be totally fine with that, much to my husband's chagrin, because he's the literal opposite of me and is the most social person alive.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you really have to talk to all these people? Because my anxiety is through the roof. But on the flip side of that, I think that the professional part of me is the total opposite of that. I don't have a problem walking into a room and, taking over a rehearsal or talking to a vendor or, and it's really strange. Like, the dichotomy of that is really weird, because you wouldn't think that those two things would align.
Yeah.
But professional me and personal me are two totally different people.
I'm fairly similar, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy either. Like,
it's a lot.
Yeah, I'd rather.
People are a lot.
People are so much.
They're a lot.
Because Jason's like a little social butterfly too, and sometimes like I just don't have the energy.
I don't want to. Yeah, I really don't.
But it's weird. You turn it on.
Yeah,
you just know
do.
To turn it on. It's such a strange thing, and again, that's why we're so similar, I think, too. And you want to take a wine break for a second?
Let's do it.
Sorry, because I'm slamming you,
you're
but
good.
Let's take a zip. Take a zip.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about being a part of the Joyful Events team? No right or wrong answer here.
Yeah, no. I think the cliche thing to say is everything. I feel like you probably knew that was coming.
Yeah.
But really, it is. I just love the whole process from beginning to end. But truly, and I think that I noticed this a lot at my last wedding because I got to do it with my daughter Lucy, which was so fun. And the planning process was a little more involved for this one. It just like went a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different times, and it was a lot. And I know that she was really overwhelmed at some times. So when the time for the reception finally came and they were just having an absolute blast. And then it started pouring down rain. And they ran out in the rain and were dancing in the rain. And I have a video on my phone, actually, of her dancing on a chair. And you could just tell that she was having the time of her life.
The bride.
And I literally said to Lucy, like, this is what I love about this, is knowing that we've brought them from the beginning where they're so super stressed out about everything and how are we ever going to get all of this done to dancing on a chair at the end of the day and just knowing that like they've had the best time. And I think that's just so fun.
That's awesome. What time was it when it rained? Because I know we had similar weddings, and it just like opened up,
and like, which I'm so glad. I'm so grateful for them that it did hold off until the end of the day, because there were so many moving parts for an outside wedding. That am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? Are we going to have to change this?
Yes.
But it did. It was like right towards the end of the night, so it was kind of perfect timing.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
These outdoor tented weddings can be very stressful.
Yeah, so fun.
That's why you need us, because we've done it a billion times. Yeah, literally too many at this point. So, Desireé, what's next for you? So what is fun is we're going into 2026, which is crazy. And we're kind of at the point with Joyful Events where it's like, how do I, Jade, trust Desireé, who is doing wonderfully for me, and I want her to stick around. please don't leave me. What do I, what's kind of the next step? So I'm excited to say that you're going to start taking your own design clients.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
So pumped.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Because obviously, not to, reiterate or say it a bunch of times, but that is really my favorite part, is like the planning part and picking all of the things and doing all of the stuff. And I mean, I love our, day of coordination people, but we miss out on a lot of those things. A lot of those decisions are already made once we come into the picture. So I'm just really excited to like get to help them make those decisions and, give my input and really like see the whole picture come to life at the end.
Yeah. Our coordination and design package is fairly popular. I think it tends to be. So we start usually a year out with design because people's they change their mind. If you start out too early, they'll change their mind. So we'll start a year out, but at that point, it's really nice because right now, if we double book a coordination design client, I'm still doing both weddings designs, and then I coordinate the one, and then I basically pass it off to you. But so much happens because I connect with those couples a year in advance.
Yeah.
So I will do design-related only site visits. I do all these things that I'm just like, well, this would make way more fucking sense if Desireé was doing this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then it's not like double the work and you're already doing it, and they just like, they have you to lean on the whole time, which I am excited for, to obviously get that off my back a little, but also just to see what you're going to do with that, I think will be great. But it gives you more time with your couples. There's a lot of wonderful benefits to it. But we do design decks that are anywhere from like 30 to 40 pages long of just all the details. And we work through them until you're super happy with them. Right. That's our plan. And I should address the awkward elephant in the room. Does everyone see I broke it down?
No,
you don't see it. I talk with my hands and I'm like, fuck, all these people are gonna see that. I hate it. So that's next. And then you are going to also potentially be doing some admin work.
Yeah.
For me. So potentially Desireé may be answering your I say potentially, but it's happening.
It is.
She's going to start answering some of my emails for you and just start with some of the tasks, because we have more full-scale clients than we've ever had before as Joyful Events.
And there's just a lot of that, finding the vendors, and you send, 5 emails to vendors, and it just is like, whew, okay. It takes up a lot of time, so I'm excited to have you do that as well. But you will see a lot more of Desireé on the back end in that sense too. So thank you.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. So what would you say is your biggest strength as a wedding planner?
I would say that your detail, and I know I keep saying this.
Yeah.
But your details and all of the little things are going to matter just as much to me as they do to you. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to really want to take the time to help you make sure that your day is how you want it, mm-hmm. and not how your mom wants it, or how his mom wants it, or mm-hmm. your grandma or your aunt. Mm-hmm. Because I think that like so much of that does come into wedding planning, and that mm-hmm. brides can get clouded mm-hmm. by a million different opinions and ideas, mm-hmm. and they lose themselves a lot of times. So I'm there to be your voice and to stand up for you and make sure that you're getting what you want. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's your day and it's your husband's day. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be married to each other at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And I just want to make sure that it's how you want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen to that. I love when we get our couples too that are just like, you'll be at a site visit, for example, and mom has like an overly strong opinion, and the bride is like, well, Jade, Desireé, what do you think? And it's fun because I'm to the point in my career too where I'm just like, well, I'll be honest, not a great idea, mom, mm-hmm. but we truly will do that. But it's obviously the most professional, polite way, of course. But it is important that we focus on you because you're the one getting married, no one else. Now, when you start to hit larger budgets and people are paying a lot, I understand we have to take those people paying into consideration as well. But as much as you cannot get the gift money, I don't know. Try to avoid it. Yeah. Which we have several full-scale couples that are just like, I'm getting offered this, but I don't even want to take it because I know it's going to mean their opinion.
You're going to have to do this thing.
Yeah, which is tough. So we're there to help you navigate that, both of us, of course. Okay. This should be a fun one. I want to know what you have to say about this one. Tell me a behind-the-scenes story where something happened that you took care of and the couple didn't even realize it was happening.
Yeah, so the most recent thing I could say, this last wedding I just had, and we needed florals for a flat lay, which had gotten overlooked and were not added to their order. And the photographer needed them like that morning because their florals weren't being delivered until they got to the venue, because it was a long day. So I called their florist on my way into the city and just swung by there real quick and picked up some flowers and went and dropped them off at her house because the photographer was going to her house. That's where they were getting ready. Mm-hmm. So I went and dropped them off there, and she had no idea I was coming until she answered the door. Aww. And she was like, wait, what are you doing here?
That's so nice.
Yeah, but so just one of those things that you don't, that's a small thing, but also, just something that she didn't think about. It got overlooked, and we just took care of it, went and picked them up, and made sure that the photographer had them to do the flat lays.
It could be tough too because you have to pay extra deliveries to get flowers to
to separate places. Yeah.
Like when you're not getting married close to the venue or close to the church, and if you are especially, I know in that case they were getting married all on site, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not getting ready close, it's like, why? It's hard sometimes to justify, okay, let me pay for this delivery the whole way out here. So I get it completely that you don't even really think about that too.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, wow, just flat lays? Like, do I really need it? Yeah, we prefer you. Everyone will be happy if you have it. But I just feel like I struggle with that a lot with like our full-scale couples especially. It's just like, okay, well, you're getting married way here. This is where your ceremony is because this is what you want. And then your venue's here. Like, why do we need to send flowers here? But we're going to do it. You know, you got to pay for it, or it is what it is. Or Desireé will pick them up.
Yeah, it's fine. Totally fine.
We'll call her, make her pick them up. So one thing I want to talk about, especially with you, because I feel like we've had some crazy scenarios, and I think about one wedding last year where it was in June. You were the lead, and we realized, so this is, again, we are talking about our wedding day management couples, so our day of coordination couples, where we are taking everything that the client planned and we are tying it all together and finalizing it basically and trying to make sure everything makes sense. So we're taking what you planned and we're overlooking it and coordinating it, okay? So obviously we do this for a living. We've seen a lot of things, so we know a lot of things. We hope to God this is your only time doing this, right?
Yeah.
Well, unless you're Desireé.
Unless it's me. It's fine.
Yeah. It's fine. But, you're not going to have the same amount of experience as we do. Obviously, you're just getting married. So these rental proposals / contracts are so convoluted.
Yes.
They're very, very hard and exhausting to read. Mm-hmm. They can be. And it depends your sales rep too.
Yes.
Some are a little bit more detailed and they'll itemize, oh, this goes outside for cocktail hour, this goes here, but others don't. And you're just reading this, like, what does 120-inch round mean? Like, people don't get that or know that, right? So it's like, oh, okay, well, I need this size linen for this size table. You're not going to know that. Mm-hmm. You're not. So from a day of coordination standpoint, when we are reviewing, we want to review your rental contracts to help finalize it before you have to give the final bill and stuff. But there was a wedding last year where you were leading, but I was helping, and I think I probably had a relationship with the contact. So I'm sitting there one day and my phone starts ringing. What's up? It's like Tuesday before the wedding, I think. And she's like, hey, I'm looking at this layout and, like, why is it showing this extra tenting area? I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know. They kept telling us they have a quote unquote extension to the tent. We didn't know what that meant. We were just like, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Remember this?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How much feet of tent is there? Like, we just kept.
What's happening?
Yes, what the couple was telling us. Mm-hmm. We pulled up the proposal and that they were looking at the side walls, I think.
Yes.
Remember? They thought the side walls were the tent, so we found out that there wasn't even enough space to hold everybody.
Yeah.
And obviously kudos to that person at the rental company to notice it as well and to help us and to call us. But we had to add on a completely different size tent the week of the wedding because they thought the sidewalls were part of the tent. I don't know. And, like, that's what's part of this is so hard too, is, like, you could ask, like, we will ask our couples for these things so we can look at them, but then they'll never send it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're just trusting your word. But, like, the best thing you can do is send us everything you have and don't wait until the week before your wedding to do it. So we can make sure we're watching it. But I feel like you especially have been dealing with a lot of outdoor, like, rental things. So how much have you been catching that is just being missed completely?
Yeah. So, again, to go back, really this last wedding, there was a lot. And I think that that's, part of the issue that happens when we only, we come in at that 3-month mark, so much has already been done.
Yeah.
And, then we get and we look at that contract and you're like, but you don't need this and you don't need this and you don't need this, but you do need this, and this. Mm-hmm. And then for outdoor weddings especially, then you have to have a contingency plan of weather, especially, this lovely rainy summer we've been having in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. You have to have a backup plan. Mm-hmm. And, just for this last one, there were just so... shout out to Mary Lynn at Windswept. I feel like I emailed her 700 times a day and was like, can we add this? Can we take this off? Can we change this? And she just was great, changing all of that up. But, it was taking off the silverware, there's certain things that they had on there that they didn't need.
I know.
But then adding stuff that they did, and there were so many things, or so many questions that when I asked the bride about it, she's like, well, I never would have thought about that until you asked me.
Right.
And so I think that so much of that happens towards the end when a lot of the planning has already happened. That you're thankful for great people like Mary Lynn that are able to do things like that at the last minute. But it's a lot.
It is a lot. And then you have preferences from certain bartending companies who only want specific types of glasses, or too, like, if you want to do a plated meal and you're renting everything, like, we need to make sure your plating makes sense for your meal. Like, all of that stuff just really, it's very exhausting, I think, for a couple getting married, trying to figure that out, and you pick a DIY scenario. So obviously, like, if you can at least grab us for coordination and design, and we can help you before you even start that rental contract, like, that's going to be super, super beneficial. We will go to the showroom with you. We'll look at everything with you, and start to put it on. But from a day of coordination or wedding day management standpoint, it's really insane, and it's, like, exhausting. And these rental companies, for the most part, they are just selling you, obviously, what you're asking for.
Yeah, it's not their job to make sure that you have what you need for your day.
Exactly.
They're going to put on the order what you say you need, and that's it.
Exactly.
Exactly. They don't know what your layout looks like or what your design plan is. So they're just, if you say add it to my order, they're going to add it.
They're literally just going to add it.
Right.
They're going to say, great, sounds good. Okay, or you need this removed, great. Yeah, they're not doing their cross-referencing like we are.
Yeah.
The only time, literally the only scenario where they do is, because I'm in it right now, is the Pennsylvanian obviously uses All Occasions as an exclusive contractor, and because it's the Pennsylvanian, which is more kind of luxury in a sense, they have one designated person at All Occasions that is specific to the Pennsylvanian, so they are, like, very, 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 very hard on, like, doing, like, this is what we do here. So, but even then I find stuff that's missed, you know what I mean? So it's just, because we're all human, people miss
so
stuff.
easy to do.
Yeah, these rental companies are just exhausting me, and I feel like you in particular have been, like, just, like, hitting it really hard.
So much DIY.
Which brings me to this year in particular feels extra heavy DIY. Would you agree or disagree?
Agree.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know if people feel like it's going to save them money by doing it that way.
Yeah.
Because, maybe they're thinking, well, if we do this ourselves and if we bring all of this stuff in, then it has to be cheaper than, like, going to a venue where that's all laid out for you.
Right.
And I don't think that's always necessarily the case, because I think that, when it is so DIY, you don't, initially at least, you don't think about the fact that literally everything has to be brought in. Everything.
Yeah.
I go back to, like, my very first wedding as a lead planner, and that was the most DIY situation I've ever been around, and it just was so much that goes into bringing all of that in and then tearing it all down. And yeah, so I don't know if it's that people think it's going to save money or... And maybe in the economy, like that is,
Exactly.
they're just trying to cut the corners, but sometimes maybe that's not the best route.
Yes, I agree. And I was talking to a colleague of ours, and she was saying a wedding that she just had, the couple made their own flowers, which I got one of those weddings earlier this month as well, and to kind of pivot slightly, and then I'll get back to my story, I guess. Our couple, they were fantastic. Super fantastic. Love them. And typically in, like, wedding day management, we don't include setup the day before. We both have done it. Fuck. Oh, God, you got us. Jeez,
We'll do it.
Yeah, we'll literally do it. But, like, for me, if I can set it up on a Friday during my work day, and then I don't have to leave my house until later on Saturday,
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I'll honestly do it. Like, oh God, again, people listen. Great, Jade will do it. But it was one of those scenarios, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm available. I'll come help you set it up. So I did, and these sweet people it was a very large wedding. It was about 200 people, so there were close to 20 tables and, their own centerpieces. So we're just setting them all, and she made all the flowers. God bless her. Her sister made all of the vases, which was even crazier. It's just a lot of work and stress, I think, on everybody, which is, again, fine. And when you're doing fake flowers by yourself, obviously you're going to save money from a florist. I get that. But that's what I think it's the economy, 100%. And just like everyone's broke right now.
Yeah.
Literally everyone. It's like so hard. And I get it. And we see you and we hear you. But is the stress worth it is the other question.
Yeah, really, at the end of the day.
Is it? And with who I was talking to, a close colleague of mine, I don't want to say who it is just because I don't want to out the wedding, but they said that they basically had to they made the centerpieces as well, but they also repurposed them as bridesmaids bouquets. So they put these bridesmaids bouquets in and out of these centerpiece vases probably 4 different times. Put them back. Well, we need them for this, and now can you put them here? And it was like, oh my God. Come on. Yeah. If you would have just made a fucking centerpiece, like, isn't that crazy? I was like, that's the wildest shit I've ever heard.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just us. I think everyone is feeling this heavy DIY year. That's okay. We're here to help you with it.
Yeah.
We understand it's a tough year. It's just extra hard on us, and for us, our price really doesn't change. We're not the type to like screw you and be like, well, you know what, you have to pay us X amount more because of XYZ. Like every now and then, obviously, if it makes sense, we will do that. But from a setup standpoint, I feel bad doing that. But then it just puts more work on us for the same amount of money. And that's where it's like,
is that fair?
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Just the reminder that we're also humans. Right. Like, we're not just the help. Like, this is our life.
So much to that. Yeah.
Because I had someone more recently too be like, so you're going to set up all our tables and chairs, right? Because they didn't want to pay the labor for their rental company to do it. And I'm at the point where I will say no. And I've told you that if you get that, pass it on to me. Because we've had that a couple times already this year where I'm just like, please, like, send me the email, CC me, and I'll respond about, like, why we can't do this. But, no, we're a 2-woman team. I'm sorry. Like, I can't set up 72s. Like, and then also designate time to your design and setting up your place settings.
Everything else, yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It's not going to work. We're going to run out of time. And then when you tell people that, what do you mean? Like it's well, because I've been doing this for 7 years, and we've done collectively over 100 weddings now. So it's like, what do you mean? What do I mean? Right? Just take my word for it.
I might know a little bit. Yeah,
I might know a little bit, and like that's the frustrating part is where it just makes it feel like, well, you're the help. I hired you. Do it, and it's just like, well, no, I'm a person, and that's really unfair.
Yeah.
It's the same way as if you have a 9-to-5 and your boss asks you to work overtime, but they're not going to pay you.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing.
The same thing, yeah.
So, yeah, we're here. We want to help with your wedding day, but, like, God, like, don't, like...
Take advantage of that, I guess, is the biggest thing.
Right.
Because we both will do whatever we can to help, even if that means driving to the florist in the morning, to do whatever, but don't take advantage of that. Kindness, niceness.
And I don't know, this year is just, it's making everyone just like stretch.
Yes.
To the point where we're all breaking.
Yeah.
We're all tired and sad. We're doing great.
So good.
Everything is so good. So, I mean, this might be the answer to it, but you tell me, what do you think is the biggest issue with wedding day management because we're starting 3 months out? Did we answer all that already?
I think we answered all of that. All of that question and all of that is that we don't come in until all of those things have already been picked and the vendors have already been chosen, and that DJ might not be somebody that we would necessarily recommend, or any vendor really.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of too late.
Right.
Because all of those choices have been made, and you may have been planning for a year already, and here we are.
Yeah.
Or you don't have a shuttle, and we're 3 weeks away from your wedding, and we just have to cross our fingers that one is available. But yeah, I would say that that's probably like the biggest issue, is just not having that initial input,
Right.
and guidance.
Right. I agree completely. Let's look at the positives, right?
Yeah, because there's a lot. I feel like that was not,
but we promise we like what we do.
Yes, we like
What do you think sets our team apart from other wedding planners in Pittsburgh?
Again, like just the laid back portion of it, that we're just going to be there to take all of that off of your shoulders. Anything that happens, we're going to be there to not lose our minds and make sure that you're not worrying about it, or your mom or your aunt or your sister, whoever. If shit hits the fan, and the caterer doesn't show up, obviously that's extreme, but we're going to make sure that we take care of all of that, and you're not going to know about it. And I think that that's appealing. I think that we're not high strung and not, oh my gosh, this is so dramatic and everything is so, I think that that's, at least for me, and again, I'd said before that I think that's just the kind of people that we attract.
Right.
And so obviously that's, it's sticking, it's out there. People like it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think too, like with some other planners, again, everyone has a different style, and they get their clients because that style works for those couples, and we get ours because this works for our couples. But like the talking people off the ledge thing, like, because it's like everything just at the end of the day, this is okay. Yeah. And I have sat on the floor with a bride before who was just losing her mind. And I went over to her and I sat down and I said, "What's up?" Like, what's going on? Are you okay? And I just tried to, be her calm in that slight panic attack that she was honestly having. And she's like, "I don't know. This is just so overwhelming." I'm like, "I know, but everything's okay. Like, everything looks great. You're on time. You're doing wonderful. Like, there is not a single thing happening that should be upsetting you, I would hope, right now. Please know that." And I just literally sat there with her and got her a drink and got her some food, and we just sat on the floor. She's in her wedding dress, just sitting on the floor,
Yeah.
And when she left a review, she said that she's like, she literally held me together while I was falling apart. And I'm just like, because it's okay. Like, it's all okay at the end of the day. But when you pour your entire, how many years, some people plan for 2 years.
Right, yeah.
How many hours of planning into it. It's like the whole wedding blues thing, and then it's the stress, and then it's afterwards you feel sad that it's done.
That it's over, yeah.
It's really tough. But we are there to just hold you together. And I think too, like, some teams might be a little bit more abrasive. I've heard multiple things just throughout from other, we hear a lot, which is, again, all fine.
Yeah.
But from other vendors that we work with about this person, like, this planner yelled at me, or was really upset when I wanted to change the timeline, or I had a suggestion, or I was worried we were running late from a DJ or something. That same DJ said, he was he's one of my favorites, but he was like, I don't know, like, they're just taking a while greeting tables. I was like, I literally had a cookie in my hand. I went, okay.
All right.
And he was like,
"That's fine.
Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, who cares?" I was like, literally, who cares? I was like, look at this room right now. They're having a good time.
Having the time of their life. Yeah.
Everyone is standing. You could feel that it wasn't stagnant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just like, who cares? I was like, let them finish. I'll go up and talk to them in a little bit just to make sure. Like, I'll keep an eye on them. But we haven't hit that point of, like, it feels like we need to move on.
Yeah.
I was like, so we're fine. And he literally, his eyes were like, I've had planners yell at me before. I'm like, why?
But
literally.
for what? Yeah.
Literally, who cares? Everyone is having a good time, and I'm eating my cookies, so
I've got my thumbprint.
Yeah.
Fine.
We're good.
And I think most importantly, at the end of the day, everything is fixable.
Yes, amen. Yeah.
Nothing, like, something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. At the end of the day, there's a resolve for everything, and that's why we're there. We're there to make that fix for you so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen to that. And I want to end things with you, Des, that we have some exciting news.
Yeah.
I laugh because I still don't know what's happening, but we're trying.
We're winging it.
We're winging it.
Yeah.
Desiree is also joining the Joyful Commons team. Yay! So the plan right now is for you to be one of our childcare specialists, which are we calling it that? I don't know.
That's really fancy.
I know.
I like that. Yeah. I'm going to put it on a shirt.
We'll call it that.
Yeah, I like it.
So right now with Joyful Commons, if you've been following along, this is not a daycare we have talked about. This is strictly child supervision, so you can also get work done. So we are not feeding your children. We are not changing your children. We're not taking them to the bathroom. Like, that's not what this is. If you need that, we recommend a daycare. Highly recommend. But this is supposed to be kind of an affordable option in between what you might need potentially as a parent, entrepreneur, working parent, whatever the case is. So we obviously, in order for you to get work done, you need the play space to at least be supervised so your children aren't fighting with other kids or running away or whatever the case is. Yeah. So lovely Desiree here has agreed because I You're gonna do it. Yeah. That she is going to be one of those people, which I'm excited for. And clearances and the safetyness will obviously be completely a part of that. We've had some questions that, where are you getting childcare people? What are their clearances? All of that. We are following any guideline that is necessary. That will be on our FAQ page for joyfulcommons.com, of course. But another part of Joyful Commons is offering it to events on the weekends, potentially. Again, this is all new, so I don't know where any of this is going. Just praying to God it works.
Yeah.
So whatever might be needed with that, there's potential, obviously, of Desiree being a part of that as well. So I'm really excited to just have you do a lot more for both of these silly businesses that I thought would be a great idea. And I'm grateful for you, and I'm really grateful that you were here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun.
Thanks for joining me. And end with the cheers, huh?
Of course, always. Yeah.
Chug, chug, chug.
I mean, there's not much left. Let's finish the bottle.